Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy D Wayne bringing you yet another YouTube video at this time. So basically what I'm going to be doing with you guys today is giving you my Datascape card profile and deck profile and discussion video. So pretty much Datascape was the newest archetype to be revealed out of the Phantom Rage pack, and to be honest, I've definitely been liking this because I've been spending some time with the deck, play testing and working with combos and stuff, and it's very meticulous and very specific in what it wants to do, and it's kind of like my personality so it kind of suits me in the way that I am, but it's, like I said, it's very specific in what it wants to do. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into the cards. So basically they all have the ability to where they will special summon from their hand by targeting a card type you control on the field, be it monster, spell, or trap. So when you do that, you can also send one card that's different from the card you targeted to the graveyard. So for instance, if you're activating one of the effects and you target a monster to special summon, and when you use the Foolish Burial part of the effect, you can only use a spell or a trap to send to the graveyard. Likewise, if you target a spell, you can only use traps and monsters to send to the graveyard with their effects. So basically that's how it goes with all the other cards, with all of the main deck cards in the deck. So I won't be going into that. So that they all have unique effects when they're special summoned to the field. So that's what we'll be mainly talking about. So basically, let's start off with Datascape Lending. So this one's unique effect is when it's special summoned by its effect, you can send a Datascape card from the deck to the graveyard. But of course, that one has to be, the card has to be different from what you targeted and from what you sent to the graveyard. So once again, in another instance, if you target a monster and sent a spell, you could only send a trap, so on and so forth. You guys should already understand how it works. Alright, so next card is Datascape Lao Lao. Now this one, when special summon, it can special summon a Datascape monster from your graveyard. This one is really good for your extending plays and stuff. So this deck can span very, very well, so this helps a lot with the spanning. Alright, so that's that. So next we have Datascape Lady Rui. Now this one, when special summon, searches a Datascape card from your deck to your hand, but of course, like with Lin, you can only search a card different from what you targeted and from what you sent to the graveyard, of course, so you guys know how that works. So next we have Datascape Princess. So this one, doesn't have the special summon ability like all the others, but this one special summons itself from the graveyard when a level 3 monster is summoned to the field. And when it's special summoned, it is treated as a tuner. And of course, you banish it when it leaves the field. And when it's banished, you can target one of your Datascape cards in your banished pile and shuffle them into the deck, except herself, of course. So this card is yet another extender for your plays. Alright, next we have Datascape Zishi. Now this one, during the end phase, when this card is sent to the graveyard during the end phase, you can add a Datascape monster from your graveyard to your hand. Alright, let me make sure. Alright, cards will trap. If you do that, special this card, also during the end phase of this turn, you can add one Datascape monster from your graveyard to your hand. Alright? So yeah, so that's that. So next we have the some generic psychics, Wielder and Tracker. Now these are level 3 psychics that can special summon themselves when you control another level 3 monster. This one gives the Synchro monster 600 attack when it's used for material. And this one, when it's used for material, can destroy a monster on the field with less attack than the Synchro monster on the field that was used. Use this card as material to summon. Alright, so this is good for summoning your extra deck monsters, giving them some decent effects on top of the effects that they have on field as well. So, alright, so that's that. So these are your generic hand traps, of course, Regeki staple, Foolish Burial staple, and this is one of the other new cards. Yes, spelling and spelling traps now. So this is a Datascape Capital Julong. So you can place one Datascape gate directly from your deck, face up on the field in the spelling trap zone, and apply the following effects in sequence based on the number of Datascape gate cards you control. If you have two or more, Datascape monsters gain 200 attack for the rest of the turn. 3 or more, send the top 3 cards from your deck to the graveyard. If you control 4, you can special summon up to 4 Datascape monsters with different names from your extra deck. You only activate 1 capital per turn. So with this, since it has the effect of 4, I'm assuming we're going to get 2 more Datascape gate cards. It only makes sense since it has the effect for 3 and 4, so we're going to get 2 more Datascape gate cards. Pretty simple enough. So Twin Twister staples, burials, for your banishing stuff, because some of your synchros like to banish to activate effects. So your burial helps to put things back in order to reuse your resources. So emergency teleport allows you to special summon a level 3 or low psychic from your deck. So of course we have plenty of targets. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 targets for your teleport. So you should be fine in resolving this effect. So now we have the first Datascape gate card. This one is Quinlong. Banishing a Datascape card from your graveyard. To target one face-up monster on the field, negate its effects until the end of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. Then you can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 Datascape monster from your deck to your hand, and send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. You can only use each effect once per turn, but they can be activated in the same turn. So, being able to banish a Datascape to target a monster on the field to negate its effects, of course, be good to bait out negation effects and stuff like that. Or if you have pesky monster effects with floodgate-like effects, you could just turn those off and proceed with your plays from there. You could even do that with your own monsters as well, because this one has an effect that I'm going to talk to you guys about later. So, alright, so that is that. So, of course, permanent staples. Second Datascape gates. This is Zalgay. This one targets a face-up card on the field. Shuffle 2 of your banished Datascape cards with different names into the deck and then destroy that target. During the main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Target 1 Datascape monster you control. It creates or reduce its level, rank by 3 until the end of the turn. You can only use each effect of Datascape gate zoo code once per turn. So this one sets up for whatever it is you want to do at the time, because this is an XZ and synchro based strategy. So you can have your level 6 use a trap to reduce it to level 3 since it's a tuner, and there's a lot of different situations you can put yourself in order to get your desired results based on what you use this card for. So if you want to make a rank 3, you can reduce a level 6 to level 3. Or if you want to make the level 9 synchro, you can boost your level, your level 3s to level 6s, and level 3 tuners and level 6 tuners with level 3 monsters. It's a lot of mix and matching you can do there to get desired results. So, alright, so that's that. Solemn Strike, some more staples. Alright, so that is that for the deck. We're going to talk about the extra deck. So let's go into the XZs first. So this is a Datascape Shell, Gia. So once per turn, this requires 2 level 3 monsters once per turn. You can detach 1 material from this card and target 1 face-up monster you control. It cannot be destroyed by battle until the end of your opponent's turn. Once per turn, after damage calculation, when this card battles an opponent's monster and you have 2 more monsters with the same original type and attribute in your graveyard, you can banish that opponent's monster. So each of the synchros have effects. Well, each of the extra deck monsters have effects that deal with having 2 of the same or different attribute and types in your graveyard in order to resolve certain effects. So that's going to be a common theme throughout the extra deck monsters. So that's that. So basically, if your opponent attacks into this card while you have 2 or more monsters with the same type and attribute, you can banish that monster. So, and this protects itself from battle or card effects. So, you know, if the opponent is actually stupid enough to attack into this, even if they were attacking to it with a stronger monster, they will lose that monster. And if this was unable to be destroyed by battle at the time, they would just lose their monster flat out, and your monster will stay on the field. So, yeah, that's that. So, this one is Datascape Dragon Long. This requires 2 level 3 monsters with the same type and attribute. Like I said, that's gonna be a recurring theme. When this card has material, your opponent cannot target it with card effects. When your opponent activates a effect or a monster with an attribute that is not on the field while they control a face-up monster quick effect, you can detach 2 materials from this card, negate deactivation. You can only use this effect of Long once per turn. I don't know what's up with that requirement though. They have to control a face-up monster and they have to activate a monster effect, and I don't know, you don't even destroy the card, you just negate the activation for the whole requirements that you have to, basically your opponent has to set up the effect for you. In the most part, you have to, the opponent doesn't do that, it's just basically sitting here as a 2400 big stick. So that's that. I just wish those restrictions weren't there. This would actually be a much better card. Basically, if it said just to detach 2 materials quick effect, negate a monster effect. Negate the activation of a monster effect, this card would have been fine. Alright, so next we have Datascape Phoenix Feng. This is a rank 6 requiring 2 level 6 monsters. Once per turn, you can detach 2 materials from this card, then target one face-up card your opponent controls and 1 card in the graveyard and banish them. If this exceeds summoned card is destroyed by battle with an opponent's monster or by an opponent's card effect, while in the opponent's monster zone, you can special summon 2 Datascape monsters from your deck with the same type and attribute as each other. You can only use the effect of Phoenix Feng once per turn. So, you know, this first effect card is really good, being able to attach materials to banish an opponent's card on the field and in their graveyard. So, you know, it stops, you know, certain effects that activate in the graveyard, of course, by just flat out banishing the card. So, and when this card is destroyed, basically after you use materials, you can special summon 2 monsters with the same type and attribute. So essentially it replaces itself for the 2 level 6 monsters you use. You can essentially summon 2 more level 6s, rank up, exit summon into this again, and then do the same thing all over again. So, you know, it has that implication there. Or you can summon 2 level 3s. It doesn't really matter, just as long as it's 2 monsters with the same type and attribute. Alright, next we have a Hyper Psychic Riser. This one requires 1 tuner, 1 non-tuner monsters. Even though it's not a Datascape, it still, you know, has the same aesthetic of having monsters with the same type and attribute in the graveyard. So monsters with attack less than this card cannot attack. Also, another player can activate effects or face-up monsters in the field with more attack than this card. This card is in your position destroyed by opponent's card and sent to the graveyard. You can target 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner monster in your graveyard with the same type and attribute as each other. Add them to your hand. You'd only use this effect of Psychic Riser once per turn. So of course you're going to be using these 2 mostly. These 2 will be ideal to summon Psychic Riser. Of course, this will give it 2600 attack and be able to pop a monster with less attack than it. But also you can use, you know, all the other level 2 psychics. You can use Princess and Bravery to summon this. Of course, you can, since they're the same type and attribute, tuner and non-tuner, you can also add these 2 to your hand with this effect as well. So it has some pretty decent implications there. Now this card is Datascape Beast Ju. This card requires 1 tuner, 1 non-tuner monsters. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects while you have 2 or more monsters with the same original type and attribute, but different names in your graveyard. You can banish 2 monsters with the same original type and attribute, but different names From your graveyard to target one card on the field and send it to the graveyard. You can only use this effect of database GUG once per turn. So of course you can use these two, of course, to summon into that. So making it 3000 attack and being able to pop a monster that's less than 3000 defense. And it also feeds, since they're the same type and attribute but different names, they also feed us to the effect to be protected by battle or card effects. So you have these two to summon into this, and you also have these two to summon into this as well. So yeah, really solid card indeed. Being able to send to the graveyard as opposed to destroying, of course, bypasses the destruction effects. So HS Sahimif, generic psychic synchro 1-tuner 9-tuner. After damage calculation, when this card battles an opponent's monster, you can banish that monster. Also banish this card. So this deals with pesky monsters that you can't get off the field through normal means. So you just attack into the monster, and it just flat out banishes both this card and the monster as well. So next we have Psychic Life Transfer, once per turn. The generic synchro, of course, 1-tuner 9-tuner. And once per turn, you can remove and play one psychic type monster from the graveyard to gain 1200 life. So of course you have plenty of targets. The level 6 here, both of these, of course, these are also psychic, so you can banish these to gain 1200 life. So, you have your share of targets, and you can always mitigate your banishing through cards like Burial or the Trap, which shuffles two of your Datascape monsters back into the deck. Next we have Datascape Fox Zien. Now this is the boss monster of the deck, of course. 1-tuner, 1-9-tuner. Any card sent from the field to the graveyard is banished instead. So this is your Dimensional Fissure for the deck, of course. So this doesn't hurt you too much, because most of your effects will revolve around sending cards from a deck to the graveyard in order to special summon the monsters from your hand. But of course, if the monsters aren't on the field and you synchro with them or whatever while this is in the field, they will be banished, of course. And then of course you have the Jiankui, which will shuffle them back into the deck. So they all work together to sort of mitigate the drawbacks that that the decks have. So this card has two other effects. So when your monster declares an attack, you return one banished monster period to the graveyard. So that also helps along with the trap to mitigate the banishing that this card does, while your monsters are on the field. So it also pretty much pays for itself. So next, during the main phase, except the turn this card was sent to graveyard, you could banish two of the monsters with different original types this time. Different original type and attribute from the graveyard to a special summon from the graveyard. So basically you have a psychic and a combination. So whatever combination of the two you can banish from the graveyard to special summon this card. Alright, so this card essentially banishes and recurs all on the same card, which is really good for basically the strategy of what you're trying to do with the deck. Alright, and then last but not least, we have Hyper Psychic Blaster. So 1-tuner, 1-9-tuner, psychic type monster. So this card attacks a defense position monster for the piercing damage. At the end of the damage step, if this card attacked the defense position monster and that monster's defense was lower than this card's attack, use the original values of the other monster. Even if the other monster is not on the field, gain life points equals to surplus. So I've been trying to understand this effect. So thinking in terms of attacking into a 2000 defense monster, like if you attack into a 2000 defense monster, a 2000 defense position monster, you're gonna inflict piercing, you're gonna get 1000 damage off of it, and then the values. Alright, since it's I get it. So you're gonna do the 1000 damage, and I believe since you're gonna use the values for the defense, since it's lower, you're gonna gain 2000, or you're gonna gain 1000 defense. So basically, whatever damage you do, you're gonna do the same in healing your life points as well. So okay, that makes sense. Trying to understand that for a second, but But yeah, pretty interesting card. You can go into it through various means in this deck as well. So yeah, that's why that's in there. So you know, life point gain is not too bad. Being able to pierce your monsters, pierce your opponent's monsters, and you know, inflict damage is not too bad at all. You can actually win games like that. So. Alright, so that's that. You know, some side deck options I was messing around with. A second burial, just in case I might have needed. Psychic Nightmare, requiring Psychic type tuners. I saw it wasn't really necessary, so I took it out. I was messing with it for a second, but found that it wasn't worth it. But it, you guess the card in your opponent's hand. If you guess it right, Spell Trap Monster gains 1,000 attack until the end phase. And this one requires one Psychic Tuner and one more non-tuner Psychic type monsters. It is possible to make this, of course, when Emergency Teleport and 2 other Psychic monsters, you can make this. So it is possible. So essentially it banishes a Psychic monster from your graveyard once per turn. And then when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, for summon as many monsters as were possible that were removed from play by this effect. So, you know, mid to late game, you can get up to maybe 2 or 3 monsters banished. Since this has such high attack, it's not going to really get off the field that easily. So you can probably special summon 2, maybe 3 monsters depending on the game state. So yeah, so that's that for the deck profile. Let me know what you guys think of Datascape. This is definitely something I will be building when it comes out. So with that being said, I have some example duels for you guys to basically give you guys an idea of how the deck is in action, goes in action. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into those. Alright, this is the first duel against Cosmo. Use the Farm Girl, summons the Shuttle. I go ahead and attack into it. You go ahead and banish, summon that. Pause that. Remember guys, the this effect was actually supposed to activate to target my monster to destroy it, but since this card's effect says monsters with higher attack than this card cannot activate its effects, so this card could not activate its effect to pop my monster. So let's go ahead and go on from there. Alright, it's their turn. Use this line to shuffle back, and then it's going to activate to special summon. It's going to pop my own spells and traps. It attacks in. I'll get the effect to get these 2 back to my hand. Attacks again. Alright, I'm going to use these 2 effects again. And I'm going to summon Quinn this time. Remember this effect, Wielder's effect pops a monster that's weaker than it, so that's why it popped the Slip Rider. And the tracker gave me an extra 600 attack. So let's go ahead and go on from here. And now since I have 2 monsters with the same type of attribute but different names in the graveyard, this effect kicks in to keeps me from being protected from battle or card effects. So let's go on from there. So the effect activates, get the Shock Troopers. You guys notice since we have the same attack and I can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, this one only went to the graveyard. Shock Troopers, special summons a Farm Girl. Since this can't be destroyed by card effect, he went into Unicorn in an attempt to spin my monster back. But of course I have the impermanence, so I'm going to negate that. And he's done from there. He sets an impermanence and passes. That's not going to help him. Special. Continue on plays. I told you this deck is very good at spamming the field to get monsters on the field. You can synchro and exceed probably like two times per turn, depending on what your hand setup is like. You could special summon the monsters. You can actually get a field with 5 monsters on the field in 1 turn, depending on what your hand looks like. Alright, so that is it with that. The duel, he pretty much scoops it up because I pretty much could have activated this and banish this, and then banish a card in the graveyard, and then just attack in for game. So 26, 28, and 3000. Alright, next replay. This one is against Assault Mode. So I was trying to what I was trying to do was stop because this is essentially one card Assault Mode. So I used the impermanence and tried to stop that. He tried to tribute, but the impermanence was activated before he tribute, so it negated the effect. So what he had, he teleport in the hand, so he special summoned this, and this is also a one card Assault Mode, so he's just going to go into it from there. Stardust and then Stardust Assault Mode. Right, it's my turn. He's very trigger happy. He doesn't even wait to see what I'm going to do. He just did a lot of stuff. And that's essentially what's going to cost him the game. He's going to be activating this effect very prematurely and not waiting to see what I'm going to do. What he honestly should have been doing was wait for my effects to actually react to affect him directly before activating this effect. But he doesn't do that, and that's pretty much what's going to cost him the game. Okay, so I'll summon this. And we have two monsters of the same type and attribute, so this card is protected by battle or card effects. Nope. Now I can understand why he did it here, because I'm pretty much just baiting it at this point. I would banish this. I activate this, banish this, in an attempt to negate its effect, so it makes sense for him to do it here. But of course, my spell card has an effect in the graveyard, so it didn't matter. So what I was doing here was summoning this to prepare for the Stardust, to attempt to banish it, so I wanted to try using this to attempt to banish the Stardust. So we'll see what happens. I'll show you. We'll go on from there. And he activated this, which stops me from activating spell cards from with that name for the rest of the turn. So he stopped this. I thought it hurt me, but for some reason I was still able to activate this from the graveyard, which kind of confused me. So let me make sure discard a spell card, negate the activation. If you do, destroy it. If you do that, your opponent cannot activate spell cards with that name for the rest of the duel. So I was confused by that. Stardust comes back, of course. Activate 10 key to get that. This could have been another Stardust Assault, but he ends up going into something else instead. So he goes into BLs this time. So of course, you know, if Stardust wouldn't have negated this effect, this would have banished this flat out and it wouldn't have been on the field anymore. But of course, Stardust negates it. Now what I needed to do here was essentially bait out the Stardust effect so I can pretty much make plays from there, and that's pretty much what I end up doing. So once again, he's not thinking ahead and not, you know, seeing what I'm actually trying to do. He's just negating just to negate. So this is where he loses the game from there. So what I realized here, after I summoned these two, I realized, like, what am I doing? I could just activate this effect, banish 2 from the graveyard, send this to the graveyard, since of course BLs cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. So this one just flat out sends it to the graveyard, it bypasses the effect. So this is going to send it to the graveyard and I just attack for a game. There you go. Attack and bam. There you go, guys. So I hope enjoyed the deck profile and enjoyed these example duels, just to give you guys a sense of how the deck will play. And if you guys are trying to if you guys are thinking about building a deck, give you guys a glimpse as to how the deck will work out. All right. So with that said, I will leave that at that. So I'll be bringing you guys more videos in the meantime. But until then, peace, YouTube.